Hi y'all! In this video I'll discuss the truth tables and show the relationships used for and, the conjunction, along with or, the disjunction. As we consider and, I'll start with an example where P is the statement Polly goes to the movies, and Q is the statement Quentin goes to a play. And I've set up the standard truth table involving P and Q. Again, P is true, true, false, false. Q is true, false, true, false. What we want to do in this example is, on our truth table, add a column for P and Q and examine what we mean by the statement Polly goes to the movies and Quentin goes to a play. Alright, so we're going to examine this statement based on these possible truth values for P and Q. This first row centers around the relationship both P is true and Q is true. So we're saying that the statement Polly goes to the movies is true, and the statement Quentin goes to a play is true. If that's the case, let's now consider what the statement we mean about this. Polly goes to the movies and Quentin goes to the play. That is, would you consider this to be a truth statement if both individual parts of that compound statement were true? I would, so I'm going to put a true T here in the truth table. Again, P and Q is true when both P and Q are true. Moving on to the second row, where P is true and Q is false, let's examine the statement again. Again here, we're saying Polly goes to the movies, the statement is true. Quentin goes to a play, the statement is false. What do we know about the statement Polly goes to the movies and Quentin goes to a play? That is, in this case where Q is false, if I told you this, would you consider that to be true? I wouldn't, so I'm going to call this false. For a similar reason, if P is false, this statement here is false, I'm going to consider this and statement, this conjunction, false. I would not consider Polly goes to the movies and Quentin goes to a play to be true if Polly, in fact, did not go to the movies. In the last case, where both P and Q are false, for a similar reason, I'm going to consider this overall statement false because any of the individual parts were false. And this is the standard truth table for P and Q. Looking at this truth table again, I see an alternate way of discussing the statement P and Q, this compound statement. Noticing that P and Q is true when both P and Q are true, and false otherwise leads me to an alternate viewpoint, and this I'll use again later. If both P and Q are true, then the statement P and Q is true. Otherwise, P and Q is false. Again, if both P and Q is true, then P and Q, the statement P, the compound statement P and Q, the conjunction, is true. Otherwise, P and Q is false. Now let's consider the compound statement P or Q. So here I'm looking at the or disjunction. I'm going to keep the statements P and Q where Polly goes to the movies and Quentin goes to a play. And we're going to consider the statement Polly goes to the movies or Quentin goes to a play and fill in the appropriate truth table. Here we're going to write P or Q. Alright. Now, let's suppose both P and Q are true, as we see in the first row. That is, Polly does go to the movies, Quentin does go to a play. And we want to examine the statement Polly goes to the movie or Quentin goes to a play. This is logically considered to be true. This or here is considered the inclusive or. And we're going to consider the statement true so long as one of them occurred. All right, in particular, Polly goes to the movies or Quentin goes to a play. Both of these things actually occurred. We're going to say the or is true, the or statement. We're going to put a true here in the truth table. This is, again, the inclusive or. If either of them occurred, the or statement is true. If either of them occurred, the or statement is true. Which really leads us to being able to fill in the rest of the truth table. If P is true, Polly did go to the movies, well, at least one of the things was true. It's already true here. The fact that Q is false does not change the overall truth value of P or Q. Here, Polly didn't go to the movies, but Quentin did go to a play. Well, at least one of those things happened, so the statement Polly goes to the movies or Quentin goes to a play is also true. In the last row, we're considering the case where P is false and Q is false. Well, Polly goes to the movies, Quentin goes to a play. Neither of those things happened. The statement Polly goes to the movies or Quentin goes to a play is false. The alternate viewpoint that we're going to consider with the disjunction with or looks at it this way. What we see on this table is that when both P and Q are false, the or, the disjunction, is false. That is, if P and Q are both false, then P or Q is false. In every other situation, P or Q is true. So we'll say otherwise, P or Q is true. This is what we will typically use when we consider bigger truth tables in class, and we'll see another use for it later in class as well. Have fun with logic.